Welcome to this Pride of Dakota feature. Coffee is not only at the top of the list for traded commodities in the world, it's the cornerstone of many people's morning activity. There are many individuals who are also fueled by their sense of adventure as either residents or visitors to North Dakota. In this feature, we'll talk to Brian Jackson of Mighty Missouri Coffee Company about a unique roast of coffee that will allow you to brew your sense of adventure one cup at a time. Mighty Missouri Coffee Company was founded in 2013 by Brian Jackson and has created a roast of coffee that captures the essence of the North Dakota adventurous spirit. Joining us in the studio is owner Brian Jackson. Brian, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Brian, it seems like there are a lot of options out there for coffees. How did you come up with this concept for the Mighty Missouri Coffee Company?
It's kind of a funny story. I was with a friend before any of this I even started in my mind.
Sure.
We decided, let's just travel around a couple of small town North Dakota cafes. I love cafes, and
Right
just
on.
order a coffee. And
That's where all the business happens.
right, exactly. And so good business happened. We drove to start in New Salem. We drove around and just had a cup of coffee, and then we just had a piece of paper, not really knowing what we were doing, just based on flavor alone. And
Okay.
and we just said, this is good. This one's smooth. This one's dark, and this one's good. And we spent the day doing that, and that's kind of where the idea started in my mind that coffee's just. Just fresh out of college at that point,
Sure.
it's necessary for me.
Some people use it, they have it hooked up through IV.
I think so. Yeah. And I didn't sign up for that, but I should have maybe. But coffee is definitely something, one of my favorite things. And so when I'm talking about starting a product or looking at going into business with something, coffee was really natural in that sense. The more I kind of looked at doing that, like saying, well, coffee would be really fun to as a business, as a way of life too.
Yeah.
And as soon as I kind of vocalized that, there were people there that are willing to help. Somebody gives me a call and says, "Hey, how do you want to get involved with coffee? Come down and look what I got going on." And people were introducing me to friends, and I started traveling around and job shadowing some people and just kind of stepping out and looking. Hey, maybe there's something here. And that's kind of the starts of what became Mighty Missouri Coffee Company.
So you're on this coffee tour and you're judging these coffees. I mean, what kinds of things are you judging them on? You say it's smoothness, but I mean, are you looking at also like consistency or how bitter it is or how dark it is? Or, I mean, what in your mind?
Now I am, but
Yeah.
then I didn't know the background. I didn't know where the beans came from and the sourcing of the beans
Okay.
and things. That was just kind of where the idea popped into my head. So now, as I get some things from
Sure.
from the companies and from the farms themselves, then I do actually have some very specific things that I'll judge based on aromas, based on flavors, the high notes and the dark chocolatey tones and things like that, where that actually is a part of it. But as far as then, it was really based on just the emotion that the coffee would present. And that can be almost as much involved in the flavor of the coffee as it is the setting of the restaurant.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that drink coffee that have no idea the whole process that goes into making it. I think it was important for you to kind of capture that from the sense of the consumer to say, emotionally, how are we tied to this cup of coffee?
Exactly, and that's actually become quite a big part of the process for me, and the big part of the marketing of the company.
Excellent. So what are your intentions for the roast of coffee that you're producing?
Well, like I said, it's all about connecting, and that's kind of what I had learned. And so in North Dakota, there's really a spirit of adventure here that
No doubt.
yeah, people who live here are really very familiar with, because you can go on a weekend and in 10 minutes you can be out in the wilderness, where you don't get that in a lot of other places in the country.
Absolutely.
And the outdoors here and the summer season here is unbeatable in my mind. And so what I was looking to do was to connect my cup of coffee with the spirit of adventure in North Dakota. And that's very specific for some, just limited to pheasant hunting or fishing, and for others it's golfing or bird watching or sitting on a hammock. But all of those things I think are really native to North Dakota and really
Sure.
specific to here. And that's really every step of the way what I'll be focused on as I'm creating the blends and creating the roasts.
Well, I know it's very much a big part of your marketing, and you really do want to capture that sense. You alluded to it a little bit earlier about your learning of the craft, but how did you learn how to roast? I mean, how did you pick up the skills that you needed for this craft, and like even deciding what kind of roaster to get and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, well, like I said, as soon as I vocalized it, really, it was just my background is in marketing and communications and things. And when I was saying, man, coffee is what I love, coffee would be so awesome to get involved in. As soon as I said that, I had somebody call me. Somebody must have said to somebody else, hey, how do you want to get involved with coffee? Come down, check out what I've got going on. And, it's a gentleman who owns a business and just was encouraging me. And then I was introduced to some friends and made some friends in Sioux Falls and just decided to job shadow them for a couple of days and worked under their master roasters and learned the trade of roasting and learned how to work on that roaster. And
there's quite a bit to it.
There really is. At first the idea, the culture of coffee is somebody sitting there sipping and just kind of studying it and like, this is nutty or this is chocolatey or something. And at first I would just kind of be making up adjectives to fit in, but then I actually kind of learned it. And there's something to this, because you're going to be getting a roast you're going to be ordering these green beans from somebody. You need to know exactly what you're getting. And so I studied under those guys and learned kind of the trade. And then I actually started taking some classes. I went to Boston for some classes on working on the Probat roaster, which I have. So learned exactly how that all works, and it's really interesting. And like I said, as soon as I mentioned that I wanted to, there were people willing to lend a hand, and as long as I kind of let them, it just kind of grew.
So if someone wants more information about Mighty Missouri Coffee Company and to learn a little bit about your roasts, where can they do that?
Definitely. Visit me online at www.mightymocoffee.com.
Okay.
I've got a blog there and would love to get anybody in on the conversation. Also on Facebook, facebook.com/mightymocoffee. And
And you're on Twitter?
Twitter at Mighty Mo Coffee.
Excellent.
Instagram,
And they can find contact information on the website.
Yeah, there's a form there. So.
And then just look for you at the Pride of Dakota showcases and at various retailers around the region.
Exactly.
Brian, thank you so much for stopping in.
Awesome. Thank you.
For more information on this Pride of Dakota featured member, or to find other feature podcast episodes, visit our website at prideofdakota.com or join the conversation at facebook.com/prideofdakota.